I'm really happy to be here with you all. I love Wisdom Builder events. This morning I'm going to talk about Upbeet, and then later this afternoon I'm going to talk about mental health and how meal-like supplements can help with mental health. And when I talk about Upbeet today, I'm going to approach it in a little bit of a different way than I normally do. And then at the end of the presentation, I'm going to compare Upbeet to lots of competitor products that are out there in the marketplace. There's some idea of the difference. Let's see. Okay, good. So 2 things about Upbeet. 2 main things. One is that it boosts nitric oxide levels through dietary nitrates. So Upbeet contains a dietary nitrate blend that gets converted into nitric oxide, and I'll explain why that's important. The second thing is that we have a clinically studied fitness blend in Upbeet that has been shown in 2 clinical trials to increase stamina and endurance. So I'm also going to talk about that. First, I'm going to talk about the dietary nitrates and why dietary nitrates are so important. And then we'll get into the clinical trial results. So, the dietary nitrate blend, beetroot powder, Joseph's Code, kale, provide 70 milligrams of dietary nitrates. So, what the dietary nitrates do is they help restore lost nitrates that happen during exercise, and they increase blood flow. And because they increase blood flow, then they support cardiovascular health. Because they increase blood flow, they increase circulation. Because they increase blood flow, they normalize and actually reduce blood pressure, which I'm going to talk about. And also because it increases blood flow, it helps with sexual health. Now, nitric oxide is one of the most important molecules in the human body. It's literally produced in almost virtually every single cell in the body. And every single system in the body relies on nitric oxide. We're going to really focus on the cardiovascular system, but every other system in the body needs nitric oxide. The immune system, the reproductive system, the nervous system, the respiratory system, every other system needs nitric oxide. Now, we produce nitric oxide naturally. But the problem is that as we age, our ability to produce it decreases. So by the time we're in our 60s, we've lost about 85% of nitric oxide. So if we lose nitric oxide, then that contributes to cellular aging. And when our cells age from lack of nitric oxide, they age but they don't die off. They end up secreting these inflammatory chemicals that then damage other cells, that then increase our risk of developing chronic illnesses. Chronic illnesses like hypertension, high blood pressure, atherosclerosis, hardening of the arteries, erectile dysfunction, depression and anxiety, obesity, macular degeneration, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease. There's more. These are some examples of how much we are at risk for developing chronic illnesses if we don't have enough nitric oxide. So the way that we increase nitric oxide is through eating green leafy vegetables and beets. Beets and green leafy vegetables are the best sources of dietary nitrates. And these dietary nitrates convert to nitric oxide through the digestive process. Now, we know most Americans don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. 90% of Americans do not eat the 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. So we know most Americans are not getting enough dietary nitrates. So most people are low in nitric oxide. Now, here are some of the benefits of dietary nitrates. So dietary nitrates have an ergogenic effect. They help with athletic performance. And part of the reason they do this is because when we exercise, our muscle nitrate stores become depleted. And when we eat dietary nitrates, they restore the lost nitrate in the muscles, which then helps us recover faster and helps us have more energy. So this ergogenic effect is true for people of all ages and fitness levels. And in fact, there's a recent meta-analysis that looked at 73 studies. And these 73 studies on dietary nitrate supplementation and exercise performance showed that dietary nitrates improved power output and time to exhaustion, which means people could exercise longer without getting tired. All 73 studies showed this. And the research is so compelling that the World Athletic Organization, which is notoriously conservative when it comes to supplements, added it onto its very short list of supplements that they recommend for competitive athletes, dietary nitrates. So dietary nitrates are also crucially important for heart health. There was a recent study of over 53,000 people, and daily consumption of dietary nitrates, 60 milligrams of dietary nitrates, led to significant decrease in cardiovascular diseases, including 15% reduction in heart failure, 12% reduction in heart attacks, 17% reduction in strokes, and a 26% reduction in peripheral artery disease. Now I want to talk about blood pressure, because blood pressure is known as the silent killer. Hypertension is the same thing as high blood pressure. It's one of the most common cardiovascular diseases in the world, actually. And then listen to this, almost half of the US population, the US adult population, has been diagnosed with high blood pressure. I need to say that again. Almost half of the US adult population has been diagnosed with high blood pressure. And high blood pressure is known as a silent killer because it can go undetected for long periods of time because there's no symptoms. It's one of the risk factors for those, what we call widowmaker heart attacks, where people seem perfectly healthy and then all of a sudden they die from a heart attack. When you go to see your doctor and you are diagnosed with high blood pressure, the doctor's going to be like, okay, well, here are some lifestyle things you can do. You can lose weight, you can stop smoking, you can exercise more, here's some medication. But the things that doctors don't recommend are dietary nitrates. And if you look at the recent evidence, the clinical trials on dietary nitrates actually provide potent and long-lasting blood pressure reduction. In fact, if people ingest dietary nitrates daily, then it acts similar to medication. They have blood pressure lowering effects actually beyond conventional drugs. So the doctors absolutely should be recommending dietary nitrates. And if people are on blood pressure medication, if they start ingesting dietary nitrates, then chances are they can reduce their blood pressure medication, if not get off of it altogether. And if you have high blood pressure and you're not on medication, then dietary nitrates can help you prevent you from getting onto medication, because it's going to reduce your blood pressure. Dietary nitrates increase blood flow so they can help with sexual dysfunction for both men and women, especially if the sexual dysfunction is related to anything heart disease related. In the US, about 40% of females have sexual dysfunction, and high blood pressure is a risk factor for sexual dysfunction, which manifests as low arousal, low desire for sex, and also the decrease in lubrication. Erectile dysfunction is very common. It affects 30 million men in the United States. And erectile dysfunction is considered to be an early manifestation of cardiovascular disease. And so for this reason, erectile dysfunction should be considered an alarm bell, because it's often a warning sign of circulatory problems. So now beetroot's ability to improve blood flow is well established in the scientific literature, and dietary nitrates, like we've been talking about, improve the circulatory system of the heart and blood vessels. So the way that Upbeet can help with sexual dysfunction in both men and women is by promoting nitric oxide production, increasing blood flow, and reducing blood pressure. So to summarize the dietary nitrate part of Upbeet, dietary nitrates in Upbeet will boost nitric oxide levels with the 70 milligrams of dietary nitrates. It restores nitrates that are lost during exercise, has an ergogenic effect. It increases blood flow, so it supports cardiovascular health. It increases circulation, normalizes, reduces blood pressure, and it supports sexual health. Now let's talk about the clinically studied fitness blend in Upbeet, which consists of moringa leaves, pomegranate peel, and black ginger root. There's 2 clinical trials on this fitness blend. And in these 2 clinical trials, the fitness blend was shown to increase stamina and endurance. It works within 1 hour, and lasts for up to 12 hours. It reduces oxidative stress. It increases dopamine by 36%, and it increased exercise endurance by 18%. So let's go through the results of the clinical trials. So the fitness blend, there's two ways to test for nitrate. You can test in the blood, and you can test in the saliva. And so in these clinical trials, they tested both blood and saliva, and within an hour, blood nitrate levels increased by 336%. In saliva, they increased by 325% within an hour. So the fitness blend also increases nitric oxide. It just does it differently than dietary nitrates. It actually kickstarts the body's own ability to produce nitric oxide. But the most important thing to remember here is that for Upbeet to work optimally, you want to take it about an hour before you work out. You're going to get the best effects for your workout if you take it about an hour before you work out, and then it lasts for about 12 hours. This fitness blend also decreases oxidative stress. So when we exercise, there's, we just naturally, our muscles tear, there's like microscopic tears in our muscles. It creates temporary inflammation and oxidative stress. But what the fitness blend does is it decreases the oxidative stress, so our muscles can heal faster, so we can recover faster. Also, nitric oxide, the nitric oxide fitness blend increases dopamine, which is the feel-good hormone, by 36%. Dopamine promotes happy, pleasurable feelings. It's what motivates us. It's feelings of reward and motivation. Dopamine is also a key neurotransmitter for muscle function, mental flexibility, memory. So Upbeet increased dopamine by 36%, and the reason that this is important, there's two reasons this is important. First of all, if you have increased dopamine while you're exercising and you're a competitive athlete, this is going to give you a mental edge. It's going to give you a mental edge because dopamine is a key neurotransmitter in motor control and in mental flexibility. So you'll have a mental edge if you're a competitive athlete. The second reason that it's important that dopamine increases is because then you feel good when you exercise and you're going to want to do it more and again. Also, the fitness blend helps people exercise longer without feeling tired. So the people that took the fitness blend were able to exercise 18% longer without getting tired compared to the placebo group, who got tired a lot faster. So to summarize, the clinically studied fitness blend, 2 clinical trials, increases stamina and endurance, works within an hour, lasts up to 12 hours, reduces oxidative stress so we can recover faster, increases dopamine by 36%, and also increases exercise endurance by 18%. Now, it's important to know that dietary nitrate, so we're back to the dietary nitrate blend, the dietary nitrate absorption starts in the mouth with healthy bacteria. So, in fact, 25% of dietary nitrates are taken up by the salivary glands. So, dietary nitrates are converted by these healthy bacteria in the mouth into nitric oxide. So that's why we made Upbeet into a drink. Because if people are taking dietary nitrates in a tablet or a capsule form, they're not going to get the benefits of the dietary nitrates. You have to have the good bacteria in the mouth to be able to convert the dietary nitrates into nitric oxide. And studies have shown that actually drinking beetroot juice actually increases these healthy bacteria that are necessary to convert dietary nitrates into nitric oxide. In fact, it only took 10 days for beetroot juice to increase the beneficial bacteria that are necessary for the nitric oxide conversion. Now, you do not want to be taking antibacterial mouthwash, or you don't want to be using antibacterial toothpaste, because what's going to happen? You're going to kill those healthy bacteria in your mouth that convert dietary nitrates into nitric oxide. If you use antibacterial mouthwash or antibacterial toothpaste, you're not going to absorb the dietary nitrates that you're getting from Upbeet or from your diet. In fact, there was a study that showed that people that use antibacterial mouthwash showed a corresponding increase in high blood pressure. So not absorbing dietary nitrates. Now I'm just going to say a word about oxalates. Oxalates are natural compounds that are found in fruits and vegetables and nuts and grain. If we eat a really good healthy diet, we'll probably get 200 to 300 milligrams of oxalates in our diet. Our bodies can handle it, no problem. It's part of what comes with eating a healthy diet. But if you get too many oxalates, they can reduce mineral absorption, and it can increase risk of kidney stones. And I'm willing to bet most companies out there don't test their beet products for oxalates, but we do. And the test results showed that the oxalate levels in Upbeet are below the level of detection, which means there are no oxalates in Upbeet. Now, in a regular serving of beets, you might get 57 milligrams of oxalates, and again, that's no problem. You're eating beets; it's just part of the normal diet. Your body can handle it. But the reason that we don't have any oxalates in our beet is because we use high-quality organic beets that are steamed, and the steaming removes the oxalates. And so that means that it's safe for people to take, even if they are at risk for kidney stones. It's safe for people to take even if they have a little bit reduced kidney function. It's safe to take multiple doses of Upbeet a day without worrying about oxalates. So let's get into the competition. So actually,